For those of you that don't know me, I'm Marty Huffman. I'm the head football coach here, and it's just great to have everybody here to celebrate such a historic season in Cougar football history. We'll touch on a lot of those things throughout the afternoon, but it's just so exciting to see everybody back. And along with us, we do have some special guests I do want to introduce as well, along with my coaching staff here in a minute. But first off, we have our Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs, Sandy Olson-Loy is here. There we go. We have our faculty rep, Tracy Anderson. My boss, I guess I'm going to call him, but my friend, first and foremost, Matt Johnson, our AD. And then we have some other special guests as well. I saw him come in, one of our chain guys. Again, anytime you have a program like this, there's a lot of people that go into it. And, you know, the work that these individuals do for us really makes my life and my job a lot easier. But Paul Watsky is here. Where are you at, Paul? There he is. Has done the chains for Cougar football for a significant amount of time, we'll say. And then I also want to welcome and thank our CSN, I guess, provider of the Cougar Sports Network. For those of you that have not been able to attend home games, things like that, there's a lot of work that goes into that process as well. And I want to thank Mike Seahawk, who's right there in the back. So thanks, Mike. If you look at the program on the back, you'll see there's a long list of thank yous that, you know, we want to make sure that we touch on and understand that, you know, this isn't a one person or a group of, it's a village. And so there's a lot of people to thank in here. And obviously if we've missed anybody, I apologize, but again, thank you for everything that you've done for Cougar football this year. So take a look at that. Make sure you see who all has been very, very important to make the season run as it does. Okay, and then one other thank you, I guess, before I'll get our coaching staff up here and make sure we introduce those guys and thank them. I need to thank my wife, Lacey, up here in front. She, as the players know, does a lot of work for you guys and does a lot of coordination with Becky Dietrich, where you at, okay, in terms of being able to take care of your sons while they are here on campus. But she's the highest unpaid person on our staff. But again, I'm just so blessed to have this type of individual at home with me. I mean, this is a team effort. And again, I can't thank you enough, Lacey, so thank you. And I guess I got to recognize the ball boys as well. So my two sons did a good job on the sideline. Yep, way to go, kids. And of course, if you've been to a home game, the flag girl, that's my daughter, so Elena. So thank you. All right, so again, like I said, it takes a lot of people. And, you know, to have the season that we had and the program that we continue to build here, it takes great coaches. And I'm blessed to work with just some great people, first and foremost. And then also it helps that they know a lot about football and can coach well. So that also makes things easier. So first introducing, if you don't know, the associate head coach and offensive coordinator, a guy who has been a great addition for me as I develop in my career as well. But Kevin Burke has done a fantastic job and continues to be an instrumental part of this program. So, Kevin, you got to stand up. He also coaches the O-line and quarterbacks, which we are pretty confident that's the only combination coach in that group in the country. So, one of a kind for sure. Next to him coaches our defensive line. Also, if you are active on social media. He operates all of our social media stuff and just makes all the graphics and just does an outstanding job with his, what is it, during camp we had the Cougar cam. Yeah, that was phenomenal. Gives you a little bit of insight of what we have to deal with every day. But again, that was a neat little feature and get to know our players a little bit more. But Coach Nate Galen. And then next to him, going around, I guess, the table, you guys are all just sitting there, so that's good. Coaches our wide receivers, and again, in his 4th year with us now, so excited to continue to have him here. But just does a fantastic job with our wideouts, and obviously is a sounding board for Coach Burke as well. So Hunter Glenn. And of course his fiance now, so. Okay, then next to Hunter here is Coach Scheibel. He coaches our running backs, and again, just finished his 2nd year with us, and obviously he's also the assistant tennis coach. So does Max, where you at, right? Yeah, he does a good job, right? But again, has just done a phenomenal job with our running backs, and again, does a good job. So, Mike Scheibel. Okay, and then lastly, and he's not able to be with us today, but Coach Rivers, Chris is back home in Mississippi with family right now, but obviously he sends his thank you and congratulations to all of you guys. But he coaches our DBs and worked with our guys a little bit in the weight room during the season. So that's kind of our coaching staff. So let's give all those guys a round of applause, please. I want to start really thinking and reflecting on the season, and I spent some time last night and the days prior of just trying to put the seasons, well, not just this season, but the last few into perspective. And we're going to introduce our senior class here in a minute. Obviously, they were all part of this transition we've been making and this steady climb that the program has been on to get us to this point, and obviously it's on the rest of us that are remaining to continue that. So, but to really reflect on the year, to have a season where, of course, the most obvious one being a conference championship. It was the first one in 17 years in Cougar football history. So, and it's the first time the program's been to the playoffs since 1981. Fosse, were you playing then? That was before your time? What's that? All right. So, again, it's just an incredible achievement for these guys or for the program. To have 18 all-conference players, that's the most in program history as far as I could find. Over the last 3 years, this group has basically garnered a record of 17-14 over the past 3 seasons. That's the most wins in a 3-year stretch since 1986 and 1989 when we were 19-10. So again, just a phenomenal, not just a one-season type thing, but just a steady, consistent build as we continue to move forward. Within the UMAC itself, this group ended up being, over the past 3 years, 13-4 in UMAC play, which is a phenomenal record when you think ultimately that's the goal, is to win UMAC conference championships. In order to do that, you got to beat your conference foes. So again, this group over the past 3 years have just done a tremendous job with that. For our 7-win season, of course, this is the first time since 2006, which was the last time Cougar football won a conference title. So again, if you kind of just think about that and put that on perspective, it's historic, and it's something that, again, players should be very proud of. I'm certainly very proud of that. The 17-win season is the 15th in Cougar football history of 7+ wins. So again, those are just some of the things that this program has achieved with, and I'm going to introduce these guys in a minute, but with this group. There's a group of players that when they came to Cougar football, yes, be it a different, odd freshman year, but they persevered through that and then really started to establish what we've been trying to build here, or at least what I've been trying to build for the past 6 seasons. And again, they've bought into the process. They bought into how we operate, and I just can't thank this group of seniors enough. As much as they have done for the program, they've done certainly much more for me and my growth as well. So just again to reflect on the season, just some astonishing type of achievements. And we'll go through a lot of these individual awards, and I tell these guys all the time, all conference things, players of the year, things like that. Those are individual accolades, but it's a team award to have the ability to have players that can achieve these things. It takes all of us, and it takes an entire group. And so, again, just congratulations to our players and for all that they've done, and again, look forward to continuing to bring more of these home. That is the expectation as we move forward. So give that a round of applause, please. All right, so with that, we're going to introduce our senior class. We do have NCAA medallions that we're going to give those guys, and then as per usual, our senior gift is a canvas photo of your time in the maroon and gold, something that hopefully you will cherish and never forget, because again, it's a special thing, and I say that really before every game, and the players know this, but be grateful, and be grateful for the opportunity, be grateful that you get to attend such a fantastic institution and get a phenomenal education and play this great game. And that hopefully will symbolize and kind of remind you of that each time. So I got the first one who's actually not here, but he is pursuing his dream, was our quarterback, number 4 from Toronto, Ontario, Canada, Marcus Reeb. All right, going in numerical order, number 7, defensive back from Billings, Montana, Taven. Like I said, seniors, and then you can grab these at the end. I just as well leave them up here so I don't kind of hang on to them. But number 10 from Emily, Minnesota, wide receiver Sam Jordan. Number 15 from Loveland, Colorado, wide receiver Dylan Naughton. Number 17, defensive back from the beautiful city of Osakis, Minnesota, Hunter Infanger. Nobody else. Number 20, defensive back from Shakopee, Minnesota, Josh Welch. Number 22, defensive back from Kansas City, Missouri, Isaiah Henderson. Number 25, another defensive back from Jerome, Idaho, Garrett Ellison. Number 26, running back from Cato, Minnesota, Blake Johnson. Got it out? Huh? I didn't say Dassel. Apparently that's a sore subject, huh? All right. I said Cato. Number 27, linebacker from Rapid City, South Dakota, Caden McNabb. Number 36, from Brighton, Colorado, kicker Alex Happ. I was about to say number 1 in your hearts, but yeah.
What do I say words now?
No, that's later. Get out of here. Number 59, from Fairfield, California, defensive lineman Mondo Calderon. At number 80, a tight end from Snohomish, Washington. Was I close? Okay. Cole Mitchell. I thought so. And again, we'll get a picture later, gentlemen, so with your photos, so don't leave early. So we'll get one I need one for my little scrapbook. So, again, that's our senior class, so give them one more round of applause. That's right. Of course, we have one special one who was not able to be with us on senior day, so I'm going to force him to come up, and he's got to tell us who we brought with him, as well as your major, who you want to thank, and then your future graduation plans, and then we'll get him his Cougar here. So, Yags, come on up.
Hi, everybody. So my name is Jager Gerald. I grew up in Shakopee, Minnesota. I brought with me today, I have my mom, Dawn, my dad, Jason, and my grandma, Nancy, are here to support me today. I'm a double major in biology and chemistry, and after graduation, I am planning on going to grad school and getting my PhD, most likely in chemistry, but we'll see what happens. So that is what I'm planning to do after graduation. I just want to say thank you to my parents and my family for always supporting me, and I want to thank all my great coaches that I've had throughout my whole football career, but especially here at Morris for really helping me pursue my dream of playing football.
All right, again, like I said, seniors, we'll get a picture here after we conclude. So, again, just a phenomenal group that have, taken some fifth years, some sixth years in your case, Yags. I think Mr. Johnson was still coaching back then. You're kind of the last one. So again, it's been a long time with you. But again, just such a tremendous group. And of course, they've endured a lot and have really made our lives as coaches just so much fun and so much a joy to work with them. And certainly going to wish them and going to miss them. So with that, we want to get into some of our awards. Again, we had some guys that just had some phenomenal individual efforts, again, as they've worked with their teammates to achieve these types of awards. It's just such a blessing. And so we're going to start off with our second team all-conference award winners. Again, this is a group, just so you're familiar with the process. The UMAC coaches are the ones that vote. We nominate players up for these awards, and then it's a collective, UMAC coaching group that decides who wins these. And so our first one, again, he's not here, but I'm going to let Coach Burke introduce it.
First off, it's just a pleasure to be here. It's so exciting to celebrate a year like we've had, and it's just outstanding to all be together again. I've missed you and not being able to practice with you every day, and especially miss Marcus for not being able to yell at him. But but before we get into that, I'm an offensive coordinator, and as an offensive coordinator, we believe in scripts. We script plays to start the season. And we talk as coaches that we will only get off the script if there's a compelling reason. And I need to get off script here right now because there's a compelling reason to get off script. Because there's an award that was garnered this year by someone who's not on our list. So we're going to talk about it a little bit right now, whether he wants me to or not. And that's going to go to, if you think about what Coach Hoffman's done since he's been here, you know, to start out with a 1-9 season, go to 3-7, go back to 1-9, and still have the faith, still have the vision, still have the belief in what we could accomplish here. We're not here if it wasn't for him. And we're not here if it wasn't for his steady leadership. We're not here if it wasn't for how much he cares about being a Cougar. And we're not here if he didn't show the love and support he does to every one of our players. We're here because he has devoted so much of his time, energy, and life to this institution and to this football program. And because of that, and for many other reasons, the conference was finally smart enough to give him the award that he deserved for the last 3 years, quite frankly, and that was as the UMAC Coach of the Year. So right now, let's hear it for Coach. Someone he is quite close to ordered this for him to commemorate this award, and I just think it's an awesome picture. Wow. Now back on script. I have the pleasure to introduce a couple of guys that were second team all conference for us in UMAC play. And the first is Marcus Reed. Obviously he can't be here tonight, but I think if you look at Marcus's totality of his career, this is the third season in a row that he was named second team all UMAC. That's an amazing accomplishment when you think about it. But even a more amazing accomplishment is the fact that every single year that he played, he threw the least amount of interceptions in the entire league each year. And we ask our quarterbacks to do two things majorly as their top priorities. And our young quarterbacks are in here, and they know what I talk about week in and week out, almost every meeting. Number one thing is protect the football. The number two thing is to protect yardage. And Marcus did an outstanding job doing that over his 3 years here. In fact, he went through this year in our conference schedule and didn't throw a single interception on the year. That's an amazing statistic. Now, I can get into the fact that he also threw for over 5,000 yards in his career. He's responsible for over 50 touchdowns in his career. Somehow he had 14 rushing touchdowns. I'm still trying to figure out how that happened because he has no moves whatsoever. But it helps when you can just wedge it in, I guess. And I actually think Blake and Isaiah, you guys help him push him into the end zone. Should get some credit for that as well, too. But, also the other thing, if you look at just conference statistics, I think each year he was in the conference, he was either 1, 2, or 3 in terms of passing efficiency. He did a lot of good things, and he was a guy I enjoyed coaching every single day. We're going to miss him, certainly, but I think he showed the way, especially to our younger quarterbacks in the program, about how to get things done. And he did want me to pass along to you the fact that we do love each other a lot. I know sometimes it looks like we would get a little irritated with each other, but it's basically because of how close we really were. And I wish he was here. I'd give him a big hug, but let's hear from Marcus. Sorry, you got to listen to me again. I got another one I got to do from a second team all conference perspective, and this is truly a great story on the one hand, and a bad story on the other hand. I mean, it's this young man competed in camp for the starting center job. Did not start our opening game as a center, unfortunately, and then depending on how you. And then really unfortunately, somebody got hurt, and then he was called to duty right away. in the second half of the first game, and really just continued to his level of play just kept going up and up and up and up from there. And I think it was really deserving. And you could see what was really cool is you could see his confidence growing each and every day, which was really good. I do think he has a really funny laugh, which is kind of interesting to hear sometimes. But, I mean, what a great season he had, and I was just thrilled that the conference coaches recognized it well, and that's Mitch Foss.
Sorry, I had to pull up my notes. So generally the position of tight end is, it's a weird one. It was actually my very first coaching job way back in Greensboro days, living down in the South, but it is a hybrid position of all hybrid positions. You have to know the pass game, you have to know the run game, you have to be able to block, catch, run, literally anything you can think of in football, they do. And they're generally on every special teams in some kind of way where they make tackles and stuff like that. Cole Mitchell's one of those people who signed up to do all that stuff. He's got a statistic in almost every way similar to his roommate, or housemate, I should say. But over this season, he had 11 catches for 188 yards and 2 touchdowns. And for his career, he had 25 catches, 350 yards, and 5 touchdowns. But those numbers don't really resemble how much he does well. There's no real blocking statistic out there, but his blocking improved immensely over his career. We used to say, he didn't like putting hands on people, and by the time he left, he was one of our better perimeter blocker guys. So just talking about his coachability, he was always trying to learn how to do things differently, and he'd get the group going when Indy would start to get a little bit long. But he also stayed healthy, which was huge in that position. It is not easy to stay healthy, and I feel like the weight room's probably his second home for a lot of reasons. He's always wanting to work out. And he's going to be a great strength and conditioning coach whenever he gets to that point. The main thing is he's just one of the more coachable guys, and he can do pretty much anything. He took his worst route whenever I first showed up, broken arrow for anybody that wants to know about that, and it became his best and his favorite. So that just tells you what kind of person he is. He takes his worst, his biggest weakness, he sees it, he understands it, made it one of his best features. Wish we could have thrown it to him, but he got really good at all kinds of things like that, and he obviously scored the touchdown in the playoffs, which he can carry that for a lifetime. So Cole Mitchell.
This next second-team all-conference player was a linebacker for us that just did a tremendous job. As he continued to develop from his freshman year into his sophomore season, you could see the growth as he went through his first year and got himself, really primed himself for this type of season that he had this year. The exciting part is his best football is still in front of him. And I think that he understands as well, and he'll continue to work extremely hard this offseason and obviously throw shot and hammer or whatever else you throw, but he'll be at our workouts and be kicking tail at that as well. But this linebacker finished third on our team in tackles. He had 92, 67 of them were solos. He had 11 TFLs, which was second on the team. He had 2 interceptions, a forced fumble, 2 fumble recoveries, none bigger than week 9 versus Martin Luther in a game that looked like we were up against the ropes a little bit. But again, I think he epitomizes the type of program that we are and that resilient factor and the ability to continue to play. Obviously Carter Maurice had to be the one to knock it out. But for him to run 92 yards, which I'm sure he was pretty winded, I don't think he ran the kickoff the next play. I had to take him off of that, but deservingly so. That was the one exception I allowed that to happen. But that 92-yard ended up being the game-winning touchdown that set up the opportunity to play for the conference title the next week. Again, if we don't have that play, and I said this to him many times, we're not in the situation to play for the conference title. And so just a tremendous job by him on that season, but also on that play. That 92-yard return is the second longest, I had to look this up, second longest in school history as far as I could tell. So second team linebacker, Greg Oman. For his effort in Martin Luther, he was also named Player of the Week, which is in here as well. So.
This D lineman has been here all 5 years since I've coached. We've gotten pretty close over these 5 years. He's the main reason why I had to shave since we won the conference, part of the deal we had. But we've been pretty tight, even though I had to kick him out of meetings a few times for some personal issues that he has. But a great team guy. He's done many things over his time, played some O-line, nose, pass rush, even some end, even though not very pretty Mondo, but all he does what it needs to for the team. His stats doesn't pop off the page, but his primary role is shut down the run and not let teams get vertical on us, and he did a good job of that, and I'm proud of the conference recognized him for that. I'm really going to miss his leadership this next year, and especially his loud voice. He usually yells for me, so I'm going to have to figure that out in this offseason, but I'm going to miss him. Back-to-back, 2 times all-conference, Mondo.
All right, our last honoree for second team all-conference is defensive back. Again, one of the things, and I've coached defensive backs most of my career. I moved to linebackers here last year, but being able to work with Isaiah has been a joy, and to kind of see his growth. He transferred here from WAP Science 2 years ago, and just continued to kind of patrol the middle of the field for us. As a safety, it's kind of a thankless job at times. You're put in a lot of situations where it's you, the ball, and the opponent. Maybe the game's on the line, maybe it's not, but again, big plays, things like that, you got to have an eraser. We talk about that with our safeties a lot, is that we need good erasers. If things break down up front, you got to make it right. And he did a tremendous job with that. He's one of the best erasers I've seen, kind of patrolling the middle of the field. Had himself a great season this past fall. I'm thrilled that the conference recognized that as well. But to have 34 tackles, and here's the erasing part, 24 of those are solos. That is a lot of open field, down the field type tackles that need to be made to save our bacon, so we can line up and play again. So he did a great job with that. He had 6 passes defended. He had 2 interceptions, both, again, in a game that we needed to have versus Martin Luther. He sealed the deal with his final pick, which was very memorable, but has patrolled our middle of our defense for the past 2 seasons. But we're going to miss him. Wish him, of course, all the best. And defensive back, Isaiah Henderson. All right, we'll move to our first team honorees, and kick us off will be Coach Scheibel.
I have the great pleasure today of presenting a pair of first team all-conference awards. The first one goes to a man who, on the football field, I can only describe as electric. Anytime he touches the ball, it could go 50, 60 yards, and the stats show it. 892 rushing yards for the season, 13 touchdowns, 7.1 yards per touch. All top 3 in the conference, and that last number 9th in the entire country. So for a fantastic season that included 2 Player of the Week awards, First one against Lawrence when he ran for 228 yards and 2 touchdowns, and the second one in the biggest game of our season against Northwestern when he finished with 172 yards and 2 touchdowns. First team all-conference, Mr. Isaiah Boss. Now, for our other first-team all-conference running back, he also finished in the top 3 in the conference in almost every major category, 711 yards, 12 touchdowns, 4.4 per carry, and he saved the best for last. In Week 8 against Crown, he ran up 79 yards and 2 touchdowns in just 1/2. Against Northwestern, 107 yards and 2 touchdowns. And he did all this, he was able to, because he worked hard through off seasons, through his first all-conference year 2 years ago, and then a year that maybe didn't go as planned, getting back into the weight room and training and coming back from a serious injury to once again be all-conference is a phenomenal testament to this man's character. Blake Johnson, congratulations, first team all-conference. And a very stylish dresser as well. Congratulations, Blake. Congrats, buddy.
Typical running back, not appreciation O-lineman. I don't know. Which the O-line does, they wanted me to ask, when are you guys treating the O-line at dinner? Because just checking on that. No, it's funny. Offensive linemen don't accumulate a lot of stats themselves. What they accumulate is team stats. And, I really wish there was the Offensive Line of the Year award in the conference because that would encompass everybody, but there's not. Do I think every one of our linemen should have been should have received all conference recognition this year? Yep, I do. I just don't think it's ever happened before where they gave all 5, or in our case 6, to do it. But it would have been nice if they did, but they don't. So we'll go with what they gave. So obviously Mitch was on second team. We got 3, which is really an accomplishment. And now for first team, our first one again, and this is his third, I guess, third straight year. He's first team all conference on the offensive line, and that's Christian Dietrich. The next gentleman I get to talk about is, the thing that's really fascinating to me is he's just always in a good mood. So with Victor Lopez, he's never met a running drill he didn't want to do, never met an inchworm he didn't want to do, and really what he wanted to do more than anything else was just dominate the guy in front of him. And in fact, if you look at his career so far, when he makes mistakes, it's by being overly aggressive at times. But that over-aggression, it's the one spot in the world on the football field in the trenches that it's a really, really good thing. And wanting to absolutely dominate the guy in front of him is absolutely a good thing for what we're talking about right now. And he wanted to do that, and he. Again, he's stubborn, and that stubbornness, I mean that as a compliment at times, because he actually has a belief that he should be able to do that to everyone you put in front of him. And that's what you need to play. You need to have that confidence. And he put it as a goal. He wanted to be first team all conference, and that stubborn streaker has got it for him. He did a great job, and he's done a great job. He was second team all conference last year, first team all conference this year, and tremendous, and we'll see what happens again next year, which will be great. Victor Lopez.
All right, so for a lot of people, working hard is something they say they do, but they don't always go out there and do it every single time. For Ethan Tang, he is one of the harder workers that I've had in my career, and I'm lucky to say most of the guys in the room are like this because we're in a special place. But for this season, he had 46 catches, 579 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And so far in his career over the last 3 years, he's had 95 catches, 1,256 yards, and 7 career touchdowns. And he's still got one more to go, which is awesome. But he appeared in every single game over the last 2 seasons. And his testament to his work, he works to improve every route, wants to know how he blocked everybody. He wants to know literally every detail, and sometimes too many, to the point where Coach Burke's like, yeah, I'll break it up. There's too much going on the field. So, because I'm one that likes to break down literally everything. He also learned how to break tackles this year, which was amazing. He actually put up over 100 yards per catch. They don't really keep track of it, but I went back and watched film, and there's well over 100 yards after catch. So for all the guys in here that have been here for long enough, that's pretty big thing. He's the leading receiver for us this year, and this is his second all-conference award that he's gotten after he got second team last year. And he is a tall and fast guy. He's not one or the other like I like to say most of them. So, Ethan Tang. Okay. Okay. All right, I get to stay up here. A little curveball for me. Yeah, a little off script. For the next one, he is also, like I said, hard worker. Guy shows up, wants to pull up the ladder after practice all the time, wants to work footwork. We talked about, he came in a little bit heavier than he wanted to, and what he did was he just started doing the conditioning test after practice. He wanted to lose weight and wanted to trim down and be able to run for a whole game. But in terms of this season, he had 21 kick returns for 571 yards. He averaged 27 per return, and he had a 51-yarder for his long. But you want to talk about quick and attention to detail. He's definitely worked on shoring up his hands a little bit, but he is a true hard worker. And I'm really excited that I got to, bring him here, basically. It was a really exciting time to see someone turn into something that we could see from a long way away. But just in his second year, he has gotten all conference for basically return specialist. So Jacob Miranda. Guess our PC's running. Oh, that's weird. We'll save battery power.
I have the pleasure now to introduce the first team all-conference kicker. He was also 3-time special teams player of the week in the conference this year. He may have hit a pretty important field goal in the Northwestern game, which is really kind of cool. But yeah, and he's truly an amazing young man. He has a lot of interests, from singing to kicking to being, wanting to dominate every room he comes into from a social standpoint. But Alex Happ just did a tremendous job and has done a tremendous job for us, and this honor is well deserved. Alex Happ.
Thank y'all for coming out. One sec, Coach.
What are you doing now?
Sorry, excuse me.
Get out of here.
Thank you all for coming out. I really appreciate it. Appreciate y'all.
I was being nice. Just wait. It's coming now next time.
I got a pair of great defensive linemen to honor for first team. First one, this is his third all-conference award. When you earn 3 of them, you're a pretty great player. He does everything pretty perfect. High academic guy as well. Should be 3-time all-academic, right, after this semester. Great effort. Really makes some mistakes. Sometimes I wish he gambled more in the pass rush side of things, but the guy on the other side does it a lot, so it kind of balances out. But this year, he really stepped in a bigger leadership role and a guy that I can count on to help the younger guys behind him. His stats this year was 51 tackles, 6.5 TFLs, 3 sacks, 3 forced fumble, most importantly, the Martin Luther one. 2 pass deflections, so even though he still got up there with those little arms, and 11 quarterback hurries. Career-wise, he's 5th all-time now in career TFLs and 3rd all-time now in career sacks. He did pass me this year, so congrats. Excited for one more year with him, though. Carter Maurice. They're both passing. Now for the other guy, you earned a lot of awards last year, and it can put a lot of pressure on you with, teams know who you are and they start game planning for you. But you worked hard in the weight room and came and watched film with me often because just constantly trying to get better. When you're great plays, you make a lot of great plays. Week 3, he was Player of the Week against Carleton with three TFLs and 1.5 sacks. His season stats, he had 20 TFLs, which is a new school record. 9 sacks, which is 4th most in a single season, 50 tackles and 5 QB hits, hurries. Career-wise, he's 3rd all-time now in TFLs, 2nd all-time in career sacks. He also passed me. Congrats. Can't wait for 2 more years with him. Chase Meyer.
All right, moving to the back end or second level of the defense. This linebacker for us just continues to lead and continues to do a great job in not just the defense, but on this within our program as well. A guy that we can count on each and every day. Again, Coach Glennon mentioned the amount of hard workers that we have in this group, and they all are. And he epitomizes that, and he's the reason why you see guys like him as a young player doing the things that he's doing, and you know that that's just how things are done here. And we finally have gotten to that point where this is how we operate. But he's a major part of that. He was a first-team all-conference linebacker last season. So this is his 2nd honor by the conference. For this year, he led our team in tackles with 108. He had a 1/2 sack, 3 pass breakups, 2 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries and 1 forced fumble. Like I said, he's a leader. He's a physical, downhill type linebacker. Again, being able to coach these types of players is fun because you never have to worry about their toughness. He's a tough son of a gun, and we're blessed to have him for one more season. Look forward to, again, I think his best football is in front of him as well. So looking forward to getting to work with him for one more year. But first-team all-conference linebacker, Alex Emmerich. I do got to ask, Alex, how'd the tattoo turn out? Oh. All right, in our secondary, we had 2 first-team all-conference players. I will recognize both those gentlemen here right now. This player, you want to talk about, as you're in coaching and you coach football, some guys are just ball players, and it doesn't matter where you put them. It doesn't matter what you ask them to do. I think both these guys epitomize ball players. But this one specifically, you talk about unselfishness, played offense his first 2 seasons here. and then, did a good job, was probably one of our more dynamic offensive players. And we had a situation that we needed help in our defensive secondary, and he willingly and happily came over. Now, I don't know if happily is the case, but he probably doesn't like me for it, but he did it, and he absolutely excelled. He was first team all defensive back last year. He's got that award again this year. But, as I sat here and researched, his career here, although he does have one more if he doesn't want to run cows. Just listen to these stats. And again, I found this remarkable because I don't know if I've ever heard this, and Coach Burke, you've done it longer than me. You tell me if you've heard of these. But he's going to finish his career at 58 tackles, 41 solos. This is this year. He's defended 6 passes, 2 interceptions. Here's our boundary corner, which for those of you that don't understand that, we put him in a lot of one-on-one situations, okay? He was kind of our guy in that regard. If they had a dude, we try to put this dude on that dude, okay? So, again, did a tremendous job in that. He also was a punt returner and kick returner for us. He had 6 punts that he returned for 16 yards, 32 kickoff returns for 665 yards. He averaged 20 yards per return. He had a 95-yard return versus Westminster that is tied for second and longest in program history. Again, just did a phenomenal job with kickoff return. If it wasn't for, of course, Miranda, he's, again, the KOR first team guy as well. But this is where it gets interesting. So in his 33 games, okay, he's got 102 rushing attempts for 513 yards, 7 touchdowns. He won't let me live if I didn't say this. He's 2 for 2 passing with a touchdown, okay? He has 18 receptions for 192 yards and a touchdown. He has 1,843 yards of kickoff return yardage, averaged 22 yards per return and a touchdown. He had 6 interceptions that he returned, 1 for a touchdown, which basically gives him 10 total touchdowns over his career. And if you look at it, that's throwing, rushing, receiving, returning, interceptions, throwing. How else can you score? I mean, it's remarkable. And I haven't heard a stat line like that of a career of a player before. And again, he was honored this year as a defensive back, but ball player. So first team all-conference, Garrett Eelson. Burke, of course, just went into his memory bank. Gordy who?
Gordy Lockbound.
Lockbound. I have no idea who that is.
Well, a long time ago, it doesn't matter.
Okay, perfect. Again, like I referenced, this other defensive back, basically he was would be a 4-year starter for us. He played during that COVID year and played a lot for us. You could tell from that, his freshman year, or his first year, he was going to be special. Obviously, anytime you're the son of the coach's kid, I know that can get, your dad's a coach, that can be a lot of pressure on that. It didn't bother him one bit. He played his tail off every single day. And he was just been a joy to work with. I had the pleasure for the past couple years to work with him directly. Obviously, when I moved to linebackers, I didn't get a chance to work with him this year, but we still had a very strong bond and still talked a lot of ball, specifically in the defensive back world. But this season, he was second on our team in tackles. He had 95 total, 56 solos. Again, as we talked about, being erasers in the secondary. This player epitomized that. He had 3 TFLs, 4 pass breakups, a forced fumble, and a safety against Northwestern that, again, I will reference, I think really swung the momentum of that game. Isaiah Boss's big run, and then us being able to get that safety on a play after we fumbled right at the goal line. It's huge. And he's a very versatile player, a guy that we didn't just put in the secondary. I mean, we moved him all over the place. Again, as I referenced, ball player. You just put him wherever, and he'll play. He'll do it. He's very coachable. He's incredibly intelligent on the field, and he just plays with a passion that's hard to really verbalize. I'm just so blessed to have been able to work with him for these past 3 years. I'm going to miss the heck out of him. He's going to finish his career here with 299 total tackles, 149 solos, 12 and a half TFLs, a sack, 3 interceptions, 15 passes broken up, 5 forced fumbles, and 3 fumble recoveries. Again, I don't know what else I can say, but I'm going to miss him. So, Hunter and Fanger. I did forget to mention, was named Player of the Week in Week 10 against Northwestern. So, all right, now we're going to move into I got one more conference award. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Thought he was going to throw another curveball at me. That was going to be bad. Not ready for all this. To talk about how we say everybody works hard, and we all keep saying that. Well, I had one that kind of was the leader and kind of got all this started. When I first got here, I was told that this guy would work, and he's very coachable. He's played every position in football, kind of similar to Garrett in terms of he's been the running back, he's been a receiver, he's played quarterback before. Like he's done everything. But in terms of his career, he had 75 catches for 1,055 yards and 6 touchdowns, and he had an 84-yard touchdown as well as a 70 last year against Westminster. The 84 was against McAllister. And we always talk about, do we have a speed guy? Well, he's kind of deceptively fast because he never slows down. He just has a long stride. But Dylan works every single day to get better, and I do think he's going to coach one day regardless of what he wants to do. I think the world has it set that you are going to coach football somewhere because you love it so much, and I think it's going to take maybe a month away from football to go, this isn't for me, I got to go back to it. But he is literally just an extension of me. I feel like in the room he always has been, and I think that's something that a lot of coaches really want to have as a leader that's going to work to find his craft, and he was never complacent with anything. And he always makes that catch where I think all of us in practice go, how the hell did that just happen? Like he does that once a week, it seems like, and he did in a couple games like Hamlin this year there was one where a guy was draped all over him. He one-hands and just brings it in, and he did that over and over and over throughout his career. So, Dylan Naughton.
All right, we got 3 other UMAC awards. Again, these are all voted by the conference and the coaches. And our first one, Coach Burke will introduce.
I get to do the Lineman of the Year in the UMAC conference, and it's really no surprise. I think, obviously, I think we had the top 2, if not 3, linemen in the UMAC this year, and Christian Dietrich did just an unbelievable job for us all these past years, and did it again this year. This year was especially satisfying, I think, for me as a coach to watch him do it because he was banged up most of the year. His practice time was, shall we say, limited. In fact, I think Ray Bowman was more your coach this year than I was. But the reality is he would go out there and he had to do it and had to be successful in a little bit different way because he's battling some injuries. But he was able to do that. He understands the package so well. He works extremely hard, and realistically, when he gets out on the football field, his personality switch is a positive in this case when that happens, and he can really get after it. And he just did a tremendous job all year, and very, very, very deserving of this award.
Like I said earlier, when you're the player of the year, everyone in the conference knows who you are. and they kind of try to shut you down. But in the 5 conference games, Meyer didn't let that happen. He had 9.5 TFLs, 4.5 sacks, which is both first in the conference in those 5 games, and really got after it towards the end of the year. He had a sack in each of the last 5 games, including against La Crosse. He had 2 TFLs and 2 sacks. While earning back-to-back Player of the Year, he also earned third-team All-Region for the 2nd year in a row again. Just again, proud of him and can't wait for another year.
Sorry, yes.
The Special Teams Player of the Year in the conference, it really is an amazing story if you think about it. When Alex Happ first got here, he literally would get out onto the field and he would analyze every single possible thing about his kick. Every time a kick didn't go through the uprights, he would honestly think it was the end of the world, for lack of a better way to say it. He was extremely, you can't tell by the way Alex acts most of the time, but he is very, very hard on himself, extremely hard on himself, and we had to talk about it. So for the first 2 years, I had to coach him, just coach sort of mentality of how to go about doing things. We talked about a white sheet of paper to think about. We talked about a lot of different things. And then really this last year, I didn't have to say anything to him. I mean, and it was great, okay? He and Hunter, his holder, would have some sort of weird conversation before every kick in practice. It made it fun. But the maturation of Alex, I think, is the amazing part. And what I mean by that is I think his first 2 years, when he got an opportunity to kick, he was hoping it was going to go through the uprights. And then he shared a story with me this year, right after the Northwestern game. He was like, literally what he told me was the first time I wasn't nervous. I knew that kick was going through. And it was a career long to win the conference at the time. What an amazing story that is. You should be confident in everything you do, not the bravado you show like you do sometimes, but just truly confident in your ability. You're bound for great things. I just don't know what they are yet, but I have no doubt you are going to be great at whatever you choose to do, and this is a very well-deserved honor as well.
I'll stand here this time. All right.
Anybody wants pictures after, I'll be out.
Thanks,
That's the part we don't like.
Thanks, Alex. All right, so that's the kind of our conference awards. Now we're going to move into our team awards that are voted on by our players. These are special awards because, of course, these are from your teammates, and these are incredible honors, and these are program awards that are given out every year. There's some plaques in the trophy case that we update, so again, you kind of get sketched into history, I guess, but again, great awards to have. The first one is our Newcomer of the Year award. Again, this goes to anybody new to the program, so it could be a first year, it could be a transfer, but somebody new to Cougar football this season. This young man came to us from Idaho. Again, as you can see, we've got a good little thing going in Idaho right now. But, he came out here, he took a chance, and I know he was a little bit hesitant at that. I'm sure glad he did. Made the trip out here and has just, really made an impact in our program. Again, another player came in as an offensive receiver, or a receiver for us, and his ability on the field, you could see is there. We just didn't have an opening yet at receiver, and we did need some help in the secondary, so he made that switch, again, with an open mind and was absolutely all on board with it. Again, another guy that I'm going to classify as a ball player. The great part is we got 3 more years of him, so that'll be great. But this year he finished with 28 total tackles. Again, was an eraser for us with 19 solos, had a TFL, had defended 5 passes, had 2 interceptions. Of course, none bigger than the last play versus Northwestern to win the conference title. That image will be burnt, I'm sure, in everyone's mind forever. It was a fantastic play. It's something that, again, I'm sure we'll all remember for a long, long time. But first year, like I said, from Rupert, Idaho, Juan J.T. Garza. Now walk. Here we go. Yeah, I got it. All right, this next award is called the James Hikus Award. James Hikus was a Cougar offensive lineman who died in a car crash. His family wanted to establish an award in his honor to recognize the best offensive or defensive lineman each year. It's been kind of neat because his brother is actually, he and I have now connected. I know he would love to be here one of these times to present this award every year. We're working on that, but Coach Burke will, this year's winner.
It's a pleasure. We've talked about him quite a bit, but one thing I have not mentioned yet is Christian Dietrich was first team all-region, and I believe he's the first Cougar football player to ever achieve that honor. So it was great, and players voting on this award is even better, quite frankly. So here you go. Come on up.
Our next award is called the Steve Shawn Award. Steve Shawn was a Cougar football player who was also tragically killed. His family established this award to honor the best skill position player of the season. And to recognize this year's winner is Coach Scheibel.
This one's also going to another guy who's getting talked about a lot today. So I'll kill the suspense. Our Steve Shawn Award winner is Isaiah Boss. And y'all can go ahead. Y'all can go ahead. And I talked about his stats the last time I was up here. Obviously, anytime you're top 10 in the country in something, you're doing a good job. But what Isaiah provides and gives us is not just on the stats, it's the joy that he brings to the game. It's very obvious watching Isaiah play in practice, in games, doesn't matter, that he loves being out here playing football. And that's really infectious. You see it in the other guys. When Isaiah is out there having a good time, a lot of other guys are feeding off of that energy. And this also showed very strongly our last game of the year, or last regular season game against Northwestern. Isaiah's on kickoff as a starting running back, also on the kickoff team, because yes, he can contribute there, but also because he wants to be. He just wants to play football. And that is truly one of the great things about coaching you. Congratulations, Isaiah. Come on up and claim the Steve Shawn Award.
All right, our next Cougar Football Award is the Vern Chandler Award. Vern Chandler was a longtime equipment manager for Minnesota Morris. He was beloved by his coaches and players alike. So this award was established in his memory to honor someone who showed great dedication to Cougar football. I couldn't think of a better recipient this year because that description right there describes him as a player. This young man is absolutely dedicated to Cougar football. He has dedicated his time here to advance this program and bring it back into championship level. And he continues to lead, and he continues to show a lot of our young players how we operate here and how things need to be done in order for us to achieve great things. And like I've referenced about him before, his best football is in front of him, but his leadership, his commitment to Cougar football, his commitment to some of our recruiting efforts has just been tremendous. And so this year's Vern Chandler Award winner is Alex Emmerich. A few more to go. Hang in there. All right. So again, we also have awards that we want to honor guys that did outstanding years. Again, these are also voted on now by the team. So we're going to have outstanding special teams, outstanding offense, outstanding defense, and MVP. But for outstanding special teams, Coach Burke, you're up again.
I'll make it easy. Alex Happ.
All right, for the outstanding defensive player, this was an interesting vote, and it was one that I found to be pretty revealing about this individual's impact on our defense specifically. But he also had the stats and the talent to back it up. It was great to work with both Alex, Greg, and McNabb. I'm not going to keep you out of that. I had a very strong group to coach with our linebackers, and again, this award I think shows a lot of what his teammates think of him. And being a sophomore, being able to continue to grow in this program, we're going to continue to lean on him to make plays. Specifically, if he can have more than 92-yard fumble recoveries for touchdowns to beat Martin Luther, that'd be great. But again, like I said, his best football is in front of him. I can't wait for the next 2 years. But this year's outstanding defensive player is Greg Ullman. For outstanding offensive, Coach Burke.
Anytime we get to this point, the player has been talked about quite a bit, but I haven't had a chance to talk about this player yet. But I just want to echo a little bit about what Coach Scheibel said. Brings a tremendous amount of energy to every practice, is constantly trying to get better, and is constantly just looking like he's having fun playing football. He's meant to be between those white lines, and I think what happens is nobody wants to go to the bathroom when we're on offense because they know he might do something pretty special, and it's pretty exciting to watch. So, Isaiah Boss.
This next award is one voted solely on by the coaches. Am I doing this one? I already forgot. I'm going to do it. Off script. This player, he's been with us now for over 5 years. After last season, a concussion kind of kept him out. And he didn't have any question of what his plans were in terms of coming back. Because, again, as you talk about commitment to Cougar football, commitment to, getting himself better day in and day out, he exemplified that. And this award we coaches kind of talk about as, who's the guy that, really makes our jobs a lot easier. And, there's a very few that allow that. And whenever we had recruits on campus, he was kind of our go-to guy. He's been that guy for us, giving tours, really the face of Cougar football. He was really some of the players in this room, the first person you met was Dylan Nunn, and that's because he exemplifies everything Cougar football is and should be and will continue to be. I just can't thank him enough for all that he has done for this program. We're going to miss the heck out of him. We need guys to step up in some of our recruiting efforts, but This year, our Coach Award goes to Dylan Naughton. All right, we've come to the last award that we'll be giving out here, and it's our team MVP. He's been up here a lot already. Of course, I haven't gotten to talk about him, so now I get to. Right now, he's currently third all-time on the Cougar touchdown rushing list with 23. His 13 touchdowns this past season ranks him fifth in Cougar football history in a single season. Currently, he has 1,700 yards rushing. He's just been an absolute joy to watch. Now, I played here, and I'm going to date myself, and Coach Matt, was here as well for some really good running backs. Donnie Green, who is a Hall of Famer for us, I graduated with him the same year. He put up some ridiculously good numbers. Paris Moore put up some ridiculously big numbers at Division II in a program that was struggling to keep its head afloat. This player, and again, I've seen both those players. Like Coach said, it's hard not to turn away every time he touches the ball. And it's just exciting to, because anyone could go to the house. And I guess that's the thing that makes him so dynamic. We already referenced his personality. He's a great teammate to have on the team as well. We look forward to his senior year this coming fall. And of course, this is a kind of an offensive award as well, because obviously O-line, I know you're thankless, but this is because of you guys. This year's team MVP, Mr. Isaiah Boss. All right, with that, just a few housekeeping items before we depart. Again, thank you for everyone who has made the trip. Thank you, families, parents, for entrusting your sons with us. Again, it's just been an absolute joy. I'm blanking out. Oh, yeah, we got to watch the highlight film, Coach Galen. I'm sorry. It's only 6 minutes, so it's not too long, but Coach Galen Productions here has a little highlight video for us to kind of refresh our memory.